Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Elevated Podcast. DJFM here with my co-host, Explicit Expert.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, today we will be discussing our new favorite game, which we're pretty freaking hooked right now. It's called Quantum League. X, you want to, talk about a little bit about our new favorite game?
Yeah. So before I talk about the game directly, I want to throw it out there nice and early into the podcast. We will be doing a giveaway for the game that we're going to be discussing tonight. We'll be giving away 2 Steam keys for Quantum League. In order to get entered into it, all you need to do is follow us or subscribe to us rather on the YouTube channel and leave a comment below. You don't need to comment that you're looking for the keys. Maybe leave a comment about, what you think of the podcast episode. But
comment on your shirt or something.
Yeah, leave a comment, subscribe to us. We'll be giving away 2 keys. I believe the date that we will do the giveaway will be July 18th. So about the game, if you're not aware of what Quantum League is an indie game that came out at the end of last month. So sometime during the last week of May. I don't remember the exact date. It's a very interesting first-person shooter. I've been doing my best to explain this game, so I guess starting off with, I think that's why DJ actually passed the reins to me. The game is simple in nature. It's a 1v1 or 2v2 FPS game. You play on small arena-style maps. The maps are mirror maps, so your side looks identical to your opponent's starting side. There are 3 rounds per match. Per match point, I guess. At the end of the 3rd round, whoever has a player standing on top of the circle, it's basically king of the hill. So if you have a player and it's uncontested, you earn a point. It takes 2 points to win in casual, 3 points to win in competitive. Past that, it loses its normal elements and it becomes very different than any other game I've personally played.
Yep.
In round 1, it's you versus your opponent. Your goal is to get onto the circle uncontested. So ideally, you would want to kill your opponent. If whatever you do in round 1 creates a timeline that exists in round 2 and round 3. So if at the beginning of round 1, you swing to your left and try and get an angle on your opponent to shoot him, in round 2, you will see your round 1, we'll refer to it as a clone, do exactly whatever it did. So if you run left for 15 feet and then you fire your gun and you kill your opponent, you're going to see that happen in round 2, although you may not kill your opponent.
Yep.
In round 2, you'll see the timeline of round 1 start off. Your round 2 opponent can attempt to impact what happened in round 1. So if in round 1 you ran left and you get shots off and you kill your opponent's round 1, in round 2, if your opponent starts off with a sniper and quickly eliminates your round 1 clone, then his round 1 clone would not have died, and that is exactly what happens. So after you reach 0 health, you become desynced. It's not considered death because it gets weird. So you become desynced from your timeline. But if something prevents you from dying, then you would never have become desynced, and therefore all of your actions that follow still happen. Your round 1 and round 2 creates their own unique timelines. So in round 3, you will see the timelines existing with you. So you're essentially fighting with your teammates, but your teammates are yourself. It's a little confusing because of timelines and, a lot of smart movies like Marvel. Most movies try and stay away from it, but when you start introducing time travel, things get really confusing. The game is exactly the same.
Yep.
So to help you understand, we will be showing a couple of clips throughout the evening. We're not just going to be talking about the game. We're actually going to be talking, I guess we will be talking about the game, but we're going to go into sharing some of the discussion points that's been going on so far, some of the things that we really like about the game, and we're also going to be talking about some of the pain points. There's definitely pain points when you're playing a game that is made by an indie developer that doesn't have the same type of backing from a monetary standpoint or from a reputation that your AAA titles have whenever they come out. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. If it was, hopefully you're still with us. And if you are still with us, we will help you understand the game better. If you're familiar with Quantum League, then stay tuned. We'll be talking about some the points I just brought up, and we'll be discussing where we hope to see the game go, what we like about it so far, and various things like that. So DJ, where would you like to start with?
Let's I think let's talk about the bugs.
Yeah.
Everybody loves bugs. Well,
Yeah.
kind of. Maybe people like talking about them. I don't know if they like running into them. So one of the bugs that we've been running into a lot recently is your gun not shooting in mid-fight. And that could be pretty damn frustrating when you're trying to take somebody off of the point area, or just in general, you want to kill somebody. I think I ran into it easily more than 10 times already.
Yep. So we've been playing the game since June 11th. I looked at our Steam accounts, and DJ has close to 40 hours. I have a little bit over 50 hours played. And for our first week or so, we didn't experience this bug at all. But around the most recent update, we started experiencing it. And the best way to describe it is just your gun getting jammed. What's interesting about this bug is when we've had people watching us, play on Twitch, we'll be in the middle of a gunfight and we'll be like, fuck, our gun got jammed. And then the people who aren't aware are like, holy shit, your gun can jam in this game?
Yeah.
Like, that's so realistic. And it's like, no. I mean, it is what happens, but it's not intended to be that way. And if it is intended to be that way, fucking scrap that shit, guys. Come on. No,
Yeah.
It's definitely not intended to be that way. So it could be infuriating, but it's identical to just having your gun jam in real life. So you're in the middle of firing shots and then nothing happens.
Shoot. Oh my god, not right now. Oh my god, dude, I cannot believe that. I've tried to think about what's maybe causing it. It seems to happen when you initiate a bunny hop, or at least for me, that's when I've noticed it.
I've noticed as well that when I'm going into the slide, sometimes I'll have it jam, or when I'm coming out of the slide. So I don't know if it's specific to the slide or if it's specific to, maybe going into the actual jump or exiting the jump. It's very hard to tell, but what's easy to tell is that it is a infuriating bug.
It really is. Smash says maybe it's a paradox.
What I like about it, though, is that the community, although small, is very vocal. Everybody seems to want to help the game improve, and I have seen that developers have already commented on the bug, and they said that they're having a difficult time reproducing it in the dev environment, which I imagine sucks.
Yeah.
Like, being on that side from a business standpoint, knowing that a bug exists and then not being able to replicate it makes it very difficult to fix. And I can't imagine being on their side of the fence trying to take care of shit like this. So what other bugs have you experienced so far, DJ?
Let's see. I want to call them no reg on the last 0.2 of a second when you're trying to score, that is. That's probably the only other bug I've ever ran into. I can't remember any other bug, but that one is definitely a frustrating one when you're trying to score or trying to remove somebody to score and you don't get the kill because of the hit in our registry.
Yep. So to expand on that a little bit more, each match in 1v1 is only a 15-second match, and at the end of that 15 seconds, I think it's actually like the last 1 second basically you enter into a slow-mo and time slows down heavily as it's going into the last part of the match, which is really interesting because as you're shooting, of course, your mouse cursor slows down, allowing you to, some people would say aim better, some people struggle with this, but because you just went from a really fast-paced moving environment to time slowing, it definitely adds some interesting elements to the match. But in like the last 0.2 seconds, if you drop somebody down to 0 health, which should cause them to desync, there seems to be this issue where the hits register and the health goes down, but the game doesn't recognize that the person desynced prior to the time reaching 0. And so although they shouldn't get credit for being on point, they do get credit for being on point. Now that is a bug that I've experienced less than the gun jamming, but I can't tell you if I've experienced it less just because of the infrequency of actually desyncing somebody during that time frame or not. I know that I have desynced people during that time frame and not had an issue, and I know that I've also experienced that issue, I think 2, maybe 3 times.
Now that you've actually mentioned that, I don't recall running into that other bug ever since the
update.
The bunny hop or the gun not shooting bug, which is weird. I wonder if it just swapped over.
So I wonder if it didn't come from the same update where they fixed that registration error causing, or if some other update potentially caused the gun jamming. Real quick, guys. So for those of you who are watching the podcast, we're going to go ahead and go to chat real quick. Earlier in the chat, Alamo asked, how did you guys come across this game? For me, I came across the game when our community manager said, hey, I bought you a new game and you're going to fucking play it. Which kudos to you, Ice Wolf. That was a really good call. But DJ, you came across this game much, much earlier than we did.
Yeah. September 26th, 2019.
That's so weird that you remember that day. That would be why you remember the day.
Yeah, I actually saw this game there. They had a little booth, and it looked interesting to me. So I stopped by and checked it out, see what it was all about. They tried to get me to play, but it was not that popular, so there wasn't that many people around it, and somehow I couldn't play by myself. I still don't understand why I couldn't just play with one of the developers or one of the people there. Made no sense, but yeah, that's where I first got introduced to Quantum League, and it looked cool. I didn't get a chance to play it, so I didn't fully experience the game.
But now you have.
Now I have, and I love it.
Yeah. So it was really awesome that Ice Wolf came across it. I don't know how he came across it. Did he tell you?
I don't know.
Ice Wolf, I know you're in chat, so if you'd like to tell us how you ended up coming across this game, I'm actually really interested to hear it. You just saw a random Facebook ad. Nice. That will do it. So following up with those questions, Not Darth said that in his experience, he's only experienced the gun jamming issue right after he grabs a health pack and immediately tries to shoot. What I find interesting about that is I don't think that I've actually experienced it after grabbing a health pack. Have you?
Yes, I have.
So I wonder though if that is coincidence or if there actually is something tied to those two mechanics, the bunny hop, whether it's the slide or the jump portion, and then the health pack. But I'm interested to find out, what they're going to do to. Not even as interested to find out what they're going to do to fix it, but I'm looking forward to it being fixed.
Yeah. I could imagine it maybe being a hot fix. It should be a hot fix, since it does most of the time cost you the game or the round.
It definitely can. The only way for you to clear up the gun jamming issue is to switch to your secondary gun, and your secondary gun is a pistol. Like there is no other option. So in Quantum League, currently there are 6 guns. Your primary guns, you get to choose one at the start of each round, and then you have to stick with it. You have a sniper rifle, and SMG, the sniper rifle, is worth mentioning that one headshot will kill a person, or a body shot, 2 body shots. The SMG works exactly like an SMG in any other game. The SMG has a much bigger clip, fires fast, mostly accurate. Mag, whatever. You actually don't know if it's a mag or a clip, but
it's a mag.
Sure. It fires pretty quick. It has decent range, decent stability. Then there's a grenade launcher. The grenade launcher is a little bit difficult to learn. Apparently, a lot of the people who I would say are pro level right now, although there's not like a professional league, but these guys are really fucking good. They will utilize the grenade launcher. If a noob tries to utilize the grenade launcher, like you will notice very quickly that it's not an easy weapon to use, but it is powerful. There's a shotgun. Shotgun works very similar to shotguns in any other game. Has a pretty decent spread. If the spread's, you only hit with the partial spread, low damage. If you hit with a tight spread, like if you ADS and then get a headshot, the fucking shotgun is powerful. And then there's an interesting weapon. There's a laser. The laser cannon. I don't know.
Laser gun, laser beam gun. Whatever you want to call it.
Boy used it. That's all I know. There's
laser
a laser.
boy strat.
It has a short range, but very powerful. But you have to be good at tracking your targets. But if you can track your targets, it's a very strong weapon. And then you have your pistol. Pistol's super handy secondary weapon.
One thing to mention about the laser beam gun is if you ADS, it actually increases the range and the strength of the beam. It actually changes color to red, I believe.
Yep, it goes from blue to red.
Blue to red, and more damage that way.
Yep. So back to the gun jamming though. So if you're on your primary weapon and your gun jams, there's no way for you to fix it unless you switch to your sidearm and you
switch back.
So I've actually experienced where if I switched but didn't fire my gun and switched back, it doesn't seem to fix the issue.
Really?
Yep.
I haven't ran into that issue.
Well, you're fortunate. But what I do like, at least though, is that the community has figured out how to get around the gun jamming issue, and the pistol is
instant headshot.
Jesus Christ.
And it's quite a bit choppy on my side from the screen share. So maybe we won't do this.
Yeah, it looked fine on my side. But then again, I'm the one. I'm the one. Yeah.
So exit there, and I'm also going to remute and go back into Discord.
Okay. I mean, for the sake of the podcast itself, I think it'll work. Since the recording is on my side.
Okay, perfect. So anyways, though, that clip definitely shows off some of the sniper skills and what you can do with the sniper rifle if you are exceptionally good.
Which I kind of am.
Yeah, definitely. So there are. What would you say is the one other downside of playing, or what would you say is another downside that most people call out when playing a indie game such as Quantum League?
A downside that people call out?
Yeah.
Like as far as the mechanics, or just the game itself being an indie game?
Being an indie game.
I think I would say the small community. I feel like it needs way more people, and this is kind of why we're trying to push this game so much, because we don't want to see this game die. We really enjoy this game, and it would be a shame to see it go away.
So I don't think I've ever played a game where this was a concern for me before, right? Like I feel invested in this game. We as Elev8ed Gaming, so DJ, myself, and our community manager have given out shit. I don't even actually want to think about this, but
you're gonna
10 I think we've given out about 10 copies of the game already.
Yeah.
And then at the start of this podcast, we mentioned that we're giving away 2 more. These games are coming out of our pockets. We aren't endorsed or sponsored by Nimble Giant, right? That is the name. Yeah, Nimble
Yes.
Giant or Quantum League. We have been doing these giveaways because we really like the game and because we want to see the community grow. So after reading through, and I'll actually read you guys a couple of the discussion points that have been left on Steam about the game, but there's some obvious downsides to playing a game that has a very small community. The biggest being that you oftentimes play against the same people. So I imagine that if you're not good at this game, which we started off not good at the game, like there's so much strategy that exists in this game that doesn't exist in other games, or different types of strategy. Like even if you're good at FPS games, you're probably going to get your ass kicked a little bit in this one because people are going to do things that you didn't think about.
100%.
I think in our first or second day of playing, like we were playing primarily against the number 1, 3, and like 15th best players in Quantum League, and they were beating our asses.
Yep.
And then we ended up just doing some custom games with those same people. And because DJ and I are, I don't know, dumbasses, we didn't choose to partner with them. We stayed partnered together, allowing for the best players in the world to kick our asses. But that's how we learn, and we develop our strategies that way, and it works well for us. But for people who don't have the same, conviction, like when you get your ass kicked by the best player 10 times in a row, oftentimes people are going to become discouraged, and you'll see that a lot. People complain in the community, and I get it. But on the flip side, if you're serious about it and you enjoy the game, you go from getting your ass kicked to doing what you saw DJ do in the clip.
A lot of practice, man.
I'd say that's probably the biggest downside to playing an indie game like this, but we enjoy it. We're passionate about it, and we want to see it grow. So we're talking about it, right? Or
Yep.
the benefit of the game, the benefit of ourselves. Like, it sucks when you find a game and then 6 months down the road, there's nobody left playing it. But to be honest, as long as the servers are up, even if nobody else is going to be playing it, we'll probably be hopping on and doing some custom matches.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, hey, X, you want to hop on for some Quantum League today?
Yeah,
just for a good old time's sake.
But with that being said, I mean, clearly we don't see that I don't think the game's going to go down that road. Otherwise, we wouldn't be making an investment in the community or in our time.
Yeah. Well, didn't you just check the stats not too long ago? Said that the player base has doubled, I believe, in a week.
So I didn't look to see like the Steam sales, but I noticed that a week or week and a half ago,
leaderboards.
The leaderboards showed that we were ranked in like the 3,300 or so, and then logged back on a day or two later, and our ranking hadn't changed, or we hadn't played any new matches, but our ranking had dropped, and both of us were in like the 6,000s, which means that the leaderboard doubled in size and that several thousand people were playing and ranking up while we hadn't been. So I mean, that's definitely a good sign. On average, while actually looking at the Steam charts, I can see that the game typically has 30 to 50 people playing most of the time. And I mean, I would say that's decent considering that the majority of the matches are 1v1. You get to play with different skill levels. I know that I don't remember the player's name, but DJ, you were playing somebody the other night that when you were beating them consistently, and you were worried that they were going to quit the game if you continued kicking their ass, right?
Yeah, I don't recall the name, but it actually, I think it did happen because I did beat him. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times, and after that 6th match, I mean, he didn't show up anymore. So if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you rage quit. I'm gonna have to stop beating people just to keep the game alive.
But then on the flip side, you were playing yesterday, and what happened?
I got mopped. all
Yeah.
over the place by get good something. I forgot his name, but he was ridiculously good. I
And
couldn't even score on the guy.
he seemed like a relatively new player, right?
Yeah, he only had about 10 ranked games, and I want to say 6 or 7 of them were with me.
And wins.
And wins, yeah.
Unfortunately. So, I mean, with that being said, let me actually read you a little bit of the discussion boards for the
Should
game.
be very interesting. Let's see what they have to say. Oh,
So,
really? You are interested in this game now that you upgraded your PC? That's cool.
that's awesome,
You should
man.
really check it out. Which series? Like, really check it out.
So, the person who led this discussion is Joker FTW. And it was bothering me, man. I was like, who the fuck is Joker FTW? And I'm pretty sure I just clicked to that name. Do you recognize that name?
Joker what?
FTW?
No.
Isn't Joker FTW one of the people who was consistently really good at the First Blood PUBG tournaments?
I don't recall.
Dude, I remember the name. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like that's where I recognize that name from. Anyways, so this person posted saying, actually it wasn't Joker. Joker responded to it. Sorry. Yo, it takes me less than a minute to get into a ranked match at this stage, which is better than what Overwatch has to offer right now. It took me around 10 minutes to get a game as a DPS player last time I checked, talking about Overwatch taking upwards of 10 minutes for a ranked game. Obviously, I'm getting into matches due to the fact that the matchmaker is pretty lax at this point. But if you read the FAQ, you can see that the devs are totally aware of this. And at this stage, you can't expect the player count of established franchises. And so I'll continue with what he said first, but I want to talk about that for a second. So this person is clearly aware that the reason we're getting relatively low queue times is because the matchmaking is basically non-existent, which is why you could be a brand new player playing against one of the top players.
Yep.
And I would say, like, there's pros and cons to that, right? Like, as a person who wants to excel at ranked, you typically want to be playing against people who are at your skill level. But if you're playing at people who are at your skill level and there's a low player count, you're gonna fucking wait around for 10 or 15 minutes. Not saying that Overwatch has a low player count, but you know. But the upside is that since there isn't any matchmaking rating going into determining who you're facing, you do get higher or lower queue times. It's nice. This person says, the way I see it, if it takes off, I'm glad I was here from the start. If it doesn't, I still had an amazing time while it lasted. I'm really grateful to the devs for what they've created. And I feel that after 2 days of playing, I've already gotten more than enough value for my money. If playing for the game and having a small amount of players is what it takes to make this game possible in the first place, I'm all for it. I doubt the developers are anywhere close to making money from having developed this game. I feel that many people are too spoiled by established free-to-play franchises that they forget that they are only able to exist because people pay for the developers' work in other ways, such as battle passes, buying cosmetics, things like that. Additionally, going free-to-play right away isn't a secure recipe for success either. I tried Crucible when it first came out and just totally hated it. I doubt that one will be around much longer, even though it is backed by big money. This game, on the other hand, is already so fresh and exciting. It has the potential to develop into so much more. I'd be really happy if it did. And if it doesn't, I'm glad I was here to experience it. So I didn't cherry pick this. This is the very first discussion after the pin discussions. And so Joker had commented on this. The person who posted it is somebody named Yo-Less. I don't think that I've seen Yo-Less in game, and I assume that the name should be the same since this is on Steam. But I know that not everybody shares this person's feelings. I do. Like, honestly, that sounds like something I would have typed. But going back to it, if paying for the game and having a small amount of players is what it takes to make this game possible in the first place, I'm all for it. I doubt the developers are anywhere close to making the money from having developed the game. So, DJ, like, what are your feelings on, aside from, like the matchmaking and getting into it, have you ever played a small indie game like this before?
To be honest, no, man. This is actually my first indie game,
Yeah.
and I'm very impressed.
I think that I've played like some mobile indie games, and I've played some like only a handful of indie games off Steam, like typically ones that I got as part of a Humble bundle or something like that. But usually the ones I played like have, I don't want to say shitty graphics, but like old school graphics. Like they were modeled after old school graphics.
Yeah.
So I guess it was good graphics for what they were going for, but I mean, they're shitty graphics.
Yeah.
Aside from the elements that we've already talked about, like, are there any other elements of the game that make you feel like this is an indie game?
I mean, I can't really say, just because this is my first indie game, so I can't really compare it to any other indie game because I haven't played any. I don't know what else would make it considered or make it an indie game.
I don't know. I guess whenever I think of indie, I usually think of, I know it's not, and I know that some people might take offense to this, and it's definitely not what I'm intending to do, guys. But when I think of indie, right, which is independent, but when I think of independent developers, I typically think of small teams of individuals who either have chose to not enter into like a big corporate environment because, I don't know, maybe because they have a like anti-corporate thing, or maybe just realistically what I think of is a couple of friends who get together and decide, hey, we have some skills and let's do something with them. So I guess usually I end up thinking of these passion projects that don't have a lot of money backing them and are done by people who are more amateurish, like just less professional experience. Otherwise, I expect that you would be with a bigger studio. Like, that's what I think of.
Okay. So when you say indie, I was a little confused. It doesn't really, it's not really based on the genre of game, right?
No, so I don't think so. I think that by definition, indie games should be games that are done by independent developers. Just like indie music used to be, musicians who chose not to enter into a big record deal and things like that. So they were doing music on their own 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now everybody's a fucking indie, musician. But eventually indie music like developed a sound that people associated with it. And I think that people might have the same concept now as an indie game, but no. So at least in this case, they're a small developer that doesn't have any major backing. I think they've only released like 2 other titles, so I don't know how big the team is, but I do imagine that it's a relatively small team. I don't know if it's only 3 people, like in my head it is, but
yeah.
I know that it's for sure it's going to be a much smaller team than like EA working on Apex,
Correct. Okay. Even with that explanation, I don't think I've ever played any other indie game.
No, right?
No.
So to me, whenever I think of indie games, I just think of something that is going to be a little less polished than most of the games we play. Honestly, what I think of when I think of an indie game was my first introduction into PUBG.
Okay. So that started as an indie game?
But yeah, I mean, they didn't have. It started with just, I'm pretty sure with just Brendan Green, or no, not Brendan Green. What's his name? Is that his name?
I think so.
I'm really surprised I remembered that.
Yeah.
So I think it just started with him doing the mod for Arma or whatever. I don't think anybody else helped him, but he already had the background code of the game and then he built on top of it. But yeah, dude, I mean, PUBG started off with him, a dude,
Wow.
and now PUBG is a corporation with,
Massive.
I don't know how many employees, but like it's significantly grown in it, and now it has a lot of backing behind it.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, PUBG was an indie game that wasn't. It was built to, simulate a AAA title, but it didn't have the AAA backing. And when I first started playing PUBG, it felt that way. Like it was a great concept, but you had to deal with a lot of bugs. You had to deal with a lot of latency. You had to deal with janky mechanics.
Mhm.
And if you only got into PUBG in the last couple of months, guys, if you think the mechanics are janky, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like
Right?
that slowness is what they've tried to do now. But in the beginning, it was like it wasn't good. I remember when I drove my motorcycle with the sidecar into a tree, and then like it hit. And now, if that happened, 99% of the time you can back out and drive away. But when I hit the tree, like it went into the tree a little bit, and then it started shaking, and then I blew up.
Jesus. The funny thing is that I never got into PUBG when it first came out. I played it like a year after it came out.
Which still wasn't a great experience.
Yeah.
But it was a massively improved experience.
Correct.
And to me, like, so maybe not even talking about an indie game, but this game is in early access, and that is still the type of experience I expect from an early access game.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know Quantum League was in early access, again, aside from the player base, is there anything to you that indicates it's an early access game?
Not really, dude, because like I mean the gameplay is pretty smooth. Gameplay's smooth, the mechanics are good. I mean, to me, there's really no other sign that screams like early access without it actually saying at the bottom. And the fact that it really only has like 2 bugs, which is great.
It's crazy because I think that like even so prior to us playing Quantum League, for anybody that's not aware, for the last couple of months we've been spending the majority of our time playing Apex Legends. And if you're not really aware of what Apex Legends is a free-to-play battle royale, 60 players. It's been out for, I think we determined like a year and a half.
Yeah, give or take.
And they experience more bugs after most patches than Quantum League, an indie game made by an indie developer is experiencing, and I'd say that's pretty impressive. I would say that the gun jamming is a more severe bug than some of the bugs I've experienced in say Apex recently. But I mean, they happen. Like Apex has its share of. Well, actually, I can't say that. The bug that just came out with Wraith's new skin, right? Isn't it Wraith she can't get headshotted right now?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that should definitely be a hotfix.
Yeah,
that new skin on her.
Yeah.
Yep.
That skin looks badass though.
It does.
Dude, it reminded me of. Have you ever seen? I know you're not great with movies, but did you ever watch Anne Rice's Queen of the Damned?
Nope.
No. So the vampire in that movie, like she looks like a marble goddess, and that's exactly what Wraith looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, really dope. But yeah, man, there's nothing about Quantum League that screams it's an early access game or it's made by an independent team, and I think that's really, really nice. So going back to the discussion board, so it was mostly a positive post. Underneath it, somebody posted, Mad Scientist said 25 at worst, 90 now, 150 at 24-hour peak. So what they're referring to is the number of concurrent players over the last 24 hours. So they saw 158 being peak. I don't think that I've been on when there was 158 players.
Nope.
90 at the time that the person posted it, and then 25 at worst. And then Joker FTW commented and said, "Oh no, I really like this gameplay," which indicates that this individual thinks that because 25 was the lowest, or maybe 90, but those numbers, he takes it as it's an indication that the game's going to die. And then the next comment is from Blofeld. And I saw this dude commenting a lot on the discussion boards. All pretty consistent. He said, well, there goes my interest. This game looks fun, but while I can accept a low player base and skill variance in slow tactical games, I do not want to pay $20 to get matched with someone with the same 10 killer machines over and over. Good luck with the game. I might pick this up if it manages to attract a bigger player base. Wish listed for the time being.
Speaking of the killers, we have our top 3 killer in the chat right now, J Dragon.
What up, J Dragon? I mean, so this individual says that if the game were a slower, more tactical game, it wouldn't bother him being matched with the same opponents over and over again. But since it's a fast-paced game, it bothers him. Like, is that? What?
I don't see that as a bad thing, though. I would rather it be slow than fast, and face a top tier opponent, because then you spend all that time and.
You mean fast?
Yes.
You would rather the games be
I'd
fast?
rather it be fast. Yeah. I mean, so if the game had a slower pace, again referencing PUBG has a pretty slow pace. So if you took time to build up, and then in your final fight, every single time you were facing off again against a person who was going to fuck you up, you wouldn't want that experience? If it was slow, no.
No, right? Why not?
Because you just spent all this time to get wrecked. And if you're constantly playing the same dude over and over again, why? It doesn't make sense to spend 40 to 50 minutes prepping for this match that you're going to get destroyed in.
I agree with you.
It's too much lost time.
Actually, I think that the way you just described it really explains why it is we stepped away from PUBG, because the matches did last definitely 20 to 25 minutes. And then what sucked was knowing that you were good, but getting your ass kicked consistently by hackers at the end of the match. It hurt. It
really did.
At least in a fast-paced game, if the person you're playing against is going to kick your ass, then you get your ass kicked and you're out.
Yeah.
The matches are only 15 seconds. With the replays, you're looking at maybe 20 to 25 seconds per round, 3 rounds before you get a point. So I mean, all in all, you're talking like a 3.5 to 5 minute match before you're out and on to the next opponent. And even if the next opponent is that same person, the way I see it, at least you're getting to see what they're doing. And if you learn quickly, then you'll get to pick up on some of their stuff.
I think another important piece to that is it's not a battle royale, so you actually get to see the strats. That way it lets you improve your next round or your next game. You learn from every game that you play, or every time you get slapped around, you're learning new stuff, as opposed to playing a BR.
Yep, it's true. Like, there are some big differences. I mean, I absolutely love battle royales, but there's like Quantum League, I think, introduces some very interesting mechanics and strategies that make it a lot of fun. It's different. So on this discussion topic, Yola said, I started playing today. It's a lot of fun. I'm not particularly good, but it's not like I'm getting wiped. So I hadn't realized when I first read this review, or the discussion point, that the dude who had all of these positive things to say had only been playing it for a couple hours. And I think that says a lot about the game. I don't know how often this dude goes around leaving reviews or starting up discussions on various games that he plays, but for me, going to the discussion boards and actually leaving a review, this is like the second time I've ever done it. And for it to be a smaller game that doesn't have the backing, like, to me, that says something about it. Blofeld came back and he said, how long are queue times for casual and ranked? With 30 to 130 people all over the world, I wonder how skill-based matchmaking, ping, and wait times are. At least some streamer seems to promote it as the Twitch views skyrocket to 30,000 occasionally. Hope whoever is promoting it promotes it well. I haven't seen the Twitch views for Quantum League go up to 30,000, but that would be pretty nice. And I hope that some other notable streamers start doing this. But I think that Elev8ed's outlook right here. So I'll tell you like some background on this dude. After I read through most of the discussion points, this dude typically is very negative, very pessimistic, and didn't even have the game for the first 2 weeks that he was on the discussion boards and
how could you make your that makes no sense.
No idea. But he did eventually buy the game. So clearly after being on the discussion boards and watching videos, whatever, he did think that it was worth his money. But talking about, he was saying, I hope that with the right streamers that the game gets better. I would say first, there's concerns as a small developer with having your game blow up too quickly. PUBG again experienced this. They didn't have the funding to pay for additional servers. So the servers started getting overpopulated. They had latency issues. They experienced different bugs. You had queue times. Your game would crash. And so many of these things are related to server issues. And then you're having to put all of your money into expanding your server base versus expanding on the actual development of the game. Like, it's a struggle. I don't understand fully what all goes into developing a game, but I know enough about it, and I know enough about the business to know that hurt them really bad, and that the player base became very split, with people going, you need to focus on putting your money into servers and getting more servers and blah blah blah, and then your other player base was like, fuck you, the servers are fine for me, so I want other stuff, oh man, I remember that so bad. And then of course, and everybody was like, fuck cosmetics, we need all this other stuff taken care of first. But they're like, bro, if you want it fixed, you gotta spend money somewhere, like help us out.
That's
it's a vicious cycle. I did read that Quantum Legend or Quantum League, they use Amazon server services, and I don't know a whole lot about that, but I know that means that they're paying Amazon however much money to utilize Amazon servers rather than building their own servers across the world. And I'm glad that we haven't experienced any server issues,
right?
And I would say that so far the $20 has been a definitely worthwhile investment. But back to the community portion, hoping that you get the right streamers pushing this game. I think that already what we've seen from the community is one of the things that I really like about the game. And so, DJ, you want to share a little bit about our experience with the community and shouting out to these dudes that hopped in over on your stream already?
Yep. Yeah, we haven't experienced a lot of positivity. Like, just the people we've actually played with, like really awesome dudes. They're down to earth. I mean, you don't really run into a lot of toxicity. I mean, it is kind of hard to say because you can't in-game chat or message in-game. So I mean, who knows how mad or happy they are on the other side. But we've played with some dudes. They've joined our discords, and it's been nothing but the positivity. I can't remember a time where we actually ran into somebody toxic, except maybe that guy.
Our friends from YouTube.
Oh, I mean,
we're gonna be looking for you.
I wouldn't really call it toxicity, but they did call us out a little bit. I hope you guys watch this because we do want a rematch.
We really do.
For real.
What is it, pizza delivery guy, or I don't remember what his name was. It was pizza something. So these two dudes, like in our first or second day of playing, and I'm pretty sure it was our first match of free for all.
Yes.
Maybe our second match of free for all.
Maybe.
These guys wiped the floor with us. Like they did.
I wouldn't say wiped. We did give them a fair fight. They struggled a little bit. Well,
with the score point.
With the gun shooting, at least. Maybe not the strats. We put up a good fight, I'll say that.
Well, I remember even at some point in their video, the dude was all, these dudes they have no gunplay skills. And I was like, Yeah, well, that's because we're trying to figure out the strategy.
Yep.
But for the most part, the community has been absolutely amazing. Both from the people who have joined our streams. I will say I haven't received anybody send me a friend request just so they could talk shit. I have had that happen on other games that I played via Steam, where like on PUBG, I've had people fucking send me a friend request and then try and troll my lobbies because I beat their ass. But in Quantum League, so far everybody's been everybody's been really cool. And as a couple of content creators, there are some really interesting opportunities for us playing a game that we're very passionate about, that is in its infancy and has a smaller community. Some of those things I would say are obvious, but I realize that they may only be obvious to us who are in the situation. But like, what's the top 3 things you can see, like the top 3 opportunities from us playing a game like Quantum League with a smaller community where it has the possibility of growing?
The possibility of I'm a little confused with that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say that we're do you think that Quantum League has the potential to grow and be bigger than it is now?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so unique. I don't think there's anything out there that's even close to what Quantum League is.
I seriously know of nothing. No. I wish that I could reference a game when trying to explain how Quantum League works.
It'd be a lot easier to explain.
So do you think that, like, what do you think, what about the game do you think will cause it to potentially blow up and become something much bigger than it is?
Probably going back to the uniqueness, because it's just so different. People that don't know about it, that do end up playing it, I just feel like they will enjoy the game just because of how smooth it is, and it's just different.
So J Dragon in chat said that I'm going to sidetrack us for a second, but I'll bring it back with a really solid point. Okay, so J Dragon said that he actually he wouldn't recommend that other people buy the game right now. There are so many great things about QL, but I would not say that people should buy it at this moment. And then our community manager asked why that is, and Jay said there are so many bugs that happen every game, so until that stuff gets fixed, people should not buy the game if they know nothing about it. I could see that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He also said there is not enough content, even though the game is so fun. And Ice Wolf, our community manager, pointed out that statement really depends on the type of gamer. And then J Dragon followed back up and said, if they're bad at the game, aka every new player, it is not fun to play the best of the best players. I said, I keep consistently losing, but I stuck around. And not only did he stick around, he bought the game for us to play. So
he wouldn't lose.
So that way we could carry him. He's like, I really like this game, but I need you guys to carry me. And then J Dragon said, there are people like you, but I have known people that have uninstalled the game after only playing Diamond 1s that have 100 plus hours. And so this is going to be what I want to tie back to with seeing a very unique opportunity here for 2 content creators such as DJ and myself. DJ, would you say that PUBG is an easy game to learn?
Oh, hell no. Nope. I could explain what happened in my first game, and it was not pretty, dude.
Why not? Tell me, what happened in your first game?
It was horrible. Like, the gun mechanics are so hard to learn. The recoil patterns, it's just an intense game to learn. On top of learning the sounds, the map itself, knowing where to go, and everything was it was really difficult on my first game. I don't think I ever got a kill until maybe a week later, and that's just one kill. You laugh at that, but it's Dude, a true story.
I know it's true though. I know it's true. Did you ever bathroom camp while playing PUBG?
No, I did not bathroom camp.
did you ever run into people bathroom camping?
Oh yes, all the
All
time.
the time, right?
All the time.
What made you stay with PUBG? Why did you want to get good at that? Why did you deal with sucking at the? I can't believe you went a week without getting a kill. Why did you put yourself through that torture?
Well, the reason I kept grinding at it was because I really enjoyed the game. The mechanics, I loved that. I loved how realistic it was and the way they handled. And I don't think I've ever had an experience like that because I came from console playing. That was the first PC or second PC game I played, or second shooter PC game. I came from Call of Duty on console, so it's a whole different game. You can't compare Call of Duty with PUBG. The only similarities they have is shooting a gun. Everything else is different.
Yep,
And that's what I
true.
loved about it. So I just kept grinding it out. That's what kept me there.
So knowing that you are not an average gamer, you will put yourself through many hours of torment just to get good. The average person's not like that. I think
No.
that J Dragon, I don't agree with you, but I do see your perspective and understand it. The average gamer won't put themselves through that type of torment. But here's my next question for you, DJ, and I think that it will possibly make Jay think a little different about this. You agree with me that the average gamer won't put themselves through that torture, yeah?
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Why did PUBG blow up?
Because it was different. It's that simple.
That's simple, right?
Yeah.
So people suck at the game. Dude, I wish I could remember the stat behind it. But one of the basic ass achievements for PUBG is to get a kill.
Yeah.
I remember after the game had been out for like 2 years that it was an absurd percentage of players, like 23 maybe, it might have been fucking 30. There was an absurd amount of players who had never got that achievement.
Wow.
And PUBG, right? Many of you still think that PUBG is a dying game because we stopped playing it. That's got to be why.
Yeah.
But PUBG still has the 5th best statistics on Steam, the 5th highest concurrent players. And out of those hundreds of thousands of people that have played it or were playing it concurrently, a good percentage of them have never killed the fucker. Like they've never killed somebody, and yet they go after it.
Yeah.
And I think that part of that is because of content creators. I want to say like us, but in reality, it's because of content creators like Shroud, like Choco Taco.
Correct.
People who have these massive followings, and I think that that's really important to seeing a game succeed, because you're going to have the fan base who wants to take part in this, and they're going to see the enjoyment for somebody else, and so they put themselves through it. I think that, coupled with just esports in general, will make people push and strive to be better. If we look at the comparison between esports and sports, the majority of kids who get into like high school football, dude, they suck ass. They're not good, you know.
Nope.
And if you're from a small town, you know that like everybody supports the fuck out of the small town teams, but they're not good.
No.
And chances are you're never going to be good. But you're going to put yourself through torment to be out there and play with the big boys. And I think that's a big element of seeing games like this succeed. From seeing people like us who really enjoy it, you're going to have other people who are going to get out there and bust their ass to try and be good. And even without us having anybody to look towards, I think that DJ's point, you know, that like, I would be willing to play the shit out of this game against the best players, getting my ass kicked every time and sucking in comparison, because the game offers something that no other game does.
Yep. So true.
So with all of that being said, back to my original question, what are some of the unique opportunities that starting off at the ground level with a game like Quantum League presents to a couple of honestly average size streamers? Because like our viewer base is very small in comparison to Shroud's, but our viewer base and our fan base is slightly better than the average streamer. the majority of your Twitch streamers don't have large viewer bases. The majority of your Twitch streamers stream to 0 to 3 viewers.
Yeah, relatively.
So do you see some unique opportunities here because of where we're at and playing a game where we have people like Jay, who's one of the, I think,
Oh, definitely.
14th or 15th best players coming out here?
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. I mean, if this game does blow up, we're gonna blow up with it because we're here from the beginning. You know, we, like you said, we got J Dragon in the chat. He's top 3. Like, how many times can any content creators say they know the top 3 or even like the top 10th fucking person? It doesn't happen often, and we are really involved with this community, and we know a lot of those top people. So I think this game could, for someone like me and you, it can really take us places if we move in the right direction.
If we make the right moves with it.
Yeah.
So I think that we have a lot of reasons to be passionate about this, and we want to see everybody stay connected because, I mean, honestly, like, there's some really good opportunity for us, both from a content creation side and from a player side.
Yeah.
Like, I think that this game has every element necessary to move out of casual gaming or competitive gaming and really into the world of competitive gaming.
Yep.
And even with the small player base, I mean, it's already got its first gaming league coming up
that we are in.
Yep. That Jay will probably eliminate us out of, but we're in it though.
Yeah.
And we're in it to win it. But I think that the esports aspect is definitely an aspect that this game will benefit from, as long as it gets the right support.
Yeah.
Jay also went on to say the thing I would say about PUBG is that because everyone on Twitch played the game, so many people bought the game, but QL has no ads and not big streamers playing consistently. Sure, there are people with 10K viewer plays once, but they never come back. The same thing. I also think this game will blow up 100%, but they have to fix so many things. I can't play in it. Don't worry. Oh, Jay can't play in it. I forgot about that. Soon, Jay, and I'm positive you'll have more opportunities. The thing is that PUBG didn't blow up. I mean, it may have felt like PUBG blew up overnight, but it didn't. And I think that QL has the opportunity to go through some of the similar experiences, but I really like that I see them handling things differently than PUBG. I know that everybody, including myself, prior to thinking it through, has said, man, but if this game was free to play, like, people would definitely rush to come play it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I mean, we already touched on some of the downsides of that, like not being able to, the servers not being able to handle it or be able to push money into the servers for those reasons. But I agree with DJ. I think that if we stick with this, that we have the potential to really be at the ground level of a game that could end up not only becoming huge, but could possibly launch a subgenre where we'll see many other titles come out that will change the type of games that we're playing. The way PUBG helped launch Fortnite and Apex Legends and Call of Duty Warzone and countless other indie titles that all followed that same formula.
Yeah, now that you said that, I would not be surprised if some other company or maybe a big name company creates what Quantum League is, with the added abilities of like maybe Apex or Valorant. Like, that's an idea that I can see happening.
I can see it happening too. I don't know if I would like it, but I could definitely see it happening. Very, very similar to how PUBG did.
Yeah.
So Jay also said when someone plays this game more than once, there would be way more players. So right now, his anecdotal feeling is that a lot of people are buying the game, playing it, a couple hours, and then not coming back. I'd say that's probably pretty possible. What I will say to anybody that's with us at this point, if you're a member of the community or if you've liked the content that you've seen so far, whether it be from this podcast or from multiple podcasts or from the streams or all of it combined. If you like what you see, then keep in mind that one of the easiest ways to show us some support is to just support what we're doing. So, liking and sharing our stuff, commenting on it is fantastic. Reposting things on Twitter, sharing our clips, supporting us in the games we play. This is probably the number one time where that's one of the most important things you could be doing to help show us support. Support us in the games we play. And if you're not playing the game with us, talk it up with other people. That's what we're doing. After we're done with the podcast, I need to remember this too. We're reaching out to another medium-sized streamer who I believe is partnered and runs his own esports team and league. And he's looking at playing the game because he's heard us hyping it up and talking about it and seeing the gameplay. You can help support us in those ways too, guys. So, stay positive with us through this experience. If you miss us playing PUBG with you, looking at you, Mercy, if you ever watch this, if you missed us playing, hit us up,
Apex.
man. Tell us, or Apex.
Yeah.
Tell us you want to play some games. But at the same time, show us some support, show us some positivity, and help us on this journey, because this is a journey that we are definitely passionate about.
Exactly. Okay,
What are you looking at?
I think we rambled on a little long.
It's easy to do when you're passionate about it.
It really is, man. It really is. But I think we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. 'Cause we've been talking way too long. But it's been some really good conversation. So for those of you that are not watching us live here on Twitch, our links will be down in the description. We won't be having another podcast next week. Why? Because it's 4th of July. I'm gonna be at the lake camping. What are you gonna be doing next?
I will be in Alaska, hanging out with Ice Wolf.
Damn.
Yeah, my first time ever going to Alaska, so I'm really excited. And Ice Wolf is cool, whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm a little jealous that I'm not gonna be able to hang out with you guys because I'm gonna be at the lake, but don't forget to record. I want to see some video of Alaska because I've never been to Alaska.
Absolutely.
Have fun, Ice. Treat him well. Take care of my boy. Guys, if you want to support us even more, don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you won't miss a podcast.
You don't want to miss one.
Nope.
They're only going to get better.
For real. He's not lying. Well, that being said, guys, we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. See you guys later.